It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chilliefalls.
Hey, good morning and welcome. Whoa, I've got an echo. Where's that coming from? Ooh, do you guys hear an echo, by the way? Or is it just me? Let me go over to the chat room. Okay, one of y'all tell me if you hear an echo, or do I just ignore it? Somebody stick a message in the no echo. Okay, I'll take that off for now. I have no idea why that did that this morning. All right. Good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News Podcast. This is the 6th day of May, 2024. Bright and sunny morning here in Central Virginia. Got quite a few things to talk about today. Not a whole ton of news, but some. The lead story today is Two Men Overboards. Also today we're going to talk about a crew member that's missing from a world cruise. That's one of them, and another one that came in after that. A man climbs off a ship to enter Japan illegally. 2026 total Eclipse voyage. Queen Anne Maiden voyage is underway. Radiance also alters her itinerary again. And a quick Drydock for Pride of America, and lots more here at 11 o'clock this morning, folks. And good morning to all of you that are in the chat room bright and early. We had Mike, and we had Katie, and Hot Air Tom, and Gretchen, and Gary. So good morning to all of you guys. All right, before I get to the news portion, well, I guess I should say, if you're listening to the podcast, welcome aboard. You can always access it via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. Okay, so Friday, some of you know because I broadcasted this weekend. Some of you may not know. I did the broadcast early Friday morning because I had to go to my oncologist, which is a new doctor, which is a whole nother story. For my twice-a-year Lupron injection. On April the 1st, the CEO of the hospital conglomerate on the main hospital here, which takes in the cancer clinic, fired all of the oncology doctors because the CEO wanted to merge with another outfit, and it was going to cut the doctor's income in half. And they said, no, we will not agree to that. And he says, well, you're fired. They were fired and shut out, couldn't even get their patient list, their personal effects, nothing. Well, 5 or 6 days later, the board of directors fired the CEO. And somebody then tries to crawl back to the oncology doctors, and they said, yeah, no. Spoke Italian to them. So I was left, I heard about all this going on. So I was left without an oncologist. Well, they got an oncologist in from Buffalo who has a practice with 6 other doctors. And he promised to give them 2 weeks a month and go back and forth. So he gets down here and finds hundreds of people on chemo and no doctor. So anyway, about the same time, of course, he immediately starts pitching in to try to get things straightened up. He eventually brought another of his oncology guys down from Buffalo. Now they've hired a third oncologist. just trying to get this whole mess straightened up in this interim month here. In the meantime, one of the nurses, before the doctor actually took over and could review hundreds and hundreds of cases, one of the nurses says, well, Chillie got to have his Lupron shot. I'll call and schedule him for it. So she did, which was Friday. So I get there, I go through the labs, I meet this doctor, and I went into the doctor expecting to absolutely despise the guy because I adored my oncologist. Not only had she saved my life twice, I enjoyed her. We had fun. And I mean, there's just, when you're a cancer survivor, and I'm a cancer survivor twice now, there's a special bond between you and your oncologist. There's a similar bond between me and my personal doctor because of the faith and trust and all those things. Well, I had this with Dr. Jenkins, who was my oncologist. So I go in to meet Dr. Ahmed and not expecting to like him at all. Told him my concerns right off the get-go and the fact that he had 3 strikes against him before he even went to bat with me. And he sat down and explained the situation that happened there at the hospital in very honest terms and how much it concerned him as well. If he was in my shoes, he wouldn't want to see a new oncologist either. But anyway, he came up in my opinion quickly. I actually ended up liking the man. Now, it's still no Dr. Jenkins, and if I can ever find where she is and I can get to her, I'll do that. But I feel much more comfortable about the new doctor. So we did all the normal checkup things. It takes a day to get the PSA back. So I told them to call me on that, which then we got into a weekend. So I've got to call them today. But we finished up there with the doctor, and I go down to where I get the needle stuck in my butt. And I'm sitting there in the waiting room for about 5 minutes or so. And here comes Dr. Ahmed again. He says, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "What's that?" "They scheduled you 2 weeks early. You can't get that shot for 2 more weeks." I said, "Oh, gee." He says, "I'm sorry." He says, "This was done before I got here." I said, "I understand that. That's no problem. I can easily come back as long as we do it in the afternoon so I don't have to cancel my show again." So they got a scheduling person in there, and they set me up for the 15th, I think it is, in the afternoon. So I didn't get my butt stuck yet. It's coming. And I'm sure this one's going to be a bad one just because of all the craziness stuff I've gone through. Okay, one other thing to point out, because we've had some unusual people from X pop into our chat room. I hate to tell you guys why that's happening. I broadcast live on X. I broadcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, which is X now. So they could be perfectly legitimate coming in to see what this live stream's all about. So if I have been insulting or degrading to any of you people on X, I apologize. I wasn't thinking about the fact that I actually broadcast live there. And some of you could very well be interested in travel and cruising. And I was actually kind of ignoring you, and that wasn't right. Not right. All right, so we got one other thing to get to before I get to the news. And that we've talked about Rochelle being on a segment of the world cruise. She wasn't going to do the 147 days or whatever it was, but she did a segment, and part of the segment, she got to India for the first time. Now, you know, she has traveled more than I have the last 2 years, as much as I've traveled. It's amazing how much she has traveled. But this was in Cochin, India, which was the first place she stepped on land in India. Some dancing there. Then they went to Goa. And Goa was an interesting mixture of the extremely poor and the extremely wealthy. I doubled that picture. That was nice. And this is the Basilica in Goa, which was just amazing. Of course, you know, Rochelle, if there's a Catholic church or cathedral, she's going to get in it. This was a mansion in Goa that was built in 1590. And they got to go inside there and have tea. That was the tea room. A table for, what's that table for? 40 or so. But anyway, she had tea in the mansion built in 1590. And then they went to the little Vatican, which was another big church cathedral kind of thing. This is the train station in Mumbai, which is an awesome building for a train station. And she went out to Gandhi's house. Don't know if they toured inside or not. It could be, and I just didn't get enough of those pictures. And I'm not sure if that's a night picture of Gandhi's house or a night picture of another building in Mumbai there. Gandhi's house was 3 stories. That appears to be 3 stories. I'm not sure if it's one or the other or both or what. Maybe I can get her on one of these days to straighten that out. This was a gentleman making spices. I assume this is like a vendor or a shop that he has and actually cooks the spices and cuts them and jars them up or packages them up right there. This was kind of cool. See, but that's a nut store, and there are packages of nuts and jars of nuts everywhere. So, and that's in Mumbai. All right, so we're going to go now to the top story for today to kick off the news portion of the show.
An unfortunate incident occurred on board Ambassador cruise line ship Ambience as a crew member was reported missing during the final stages of the vessel's world cruise. Just after breakfast on Friday, the crew member from India failed to report for duty and an extensive ship search was initiated. The vessel was in transit between the final call of the world cruise in Lisbon and its home port of Tilbury in the UK. Ambassador Cruise Line called in the Spanish Coast Guard, and Ambience retraced her previous course in hopes of finding the missing crew members. Currently, the search has now been called off.
Now, there's an add-on to that story. During the search for the missing crew member off the northwest coast of Spain, Ambience backtracked and retraced her course for roughly 75 miles at much slower speeds. The added time to the ship's return to her home port in Tilbury was almost 12 hours. Ambassador Cruise Line has informed passengers on board the return to London. The conclusion of the 120-night world cruise was delayed from arriving at 9 p.m. at night, and they moved it to 9 a.m. yesterday, which was the next day, making it a 121-night world cruise. This will subsequently impact embarkation for the next voyage, which will now sail today. For the comfort and convenience of both debarking guests as well as those boarding the ship for the next cruise, Ambassador Cruise Line is opting to delay both debarkation and embarkation rather than do it so late in the evening.
Meanwhile, a passenger has reportedly gone overboard from the Pacific Adventure cruise ship as it approached Sydney, Australia. Nearby vessels and a police helicopter are searching the waters near Sydney as the search for a missing cruise guest continues. Newspapers in Australia report that P&O's Pacific Adventure was due in Sydney Harbour before 6 a.m., but as of 7 a.m., remains in the waters off what are called eastern suburbs. Pacific Adventure is currently undertaking a search and rescue operation off Sydney after a person overboard alarm was raised about 4 a.m. And an add-on to that story, a body has been found in waters near Sydney Heads after a frantic search for the man who went overboard during the Elvis-themed cruise. About 10:30 a.m., officers attached to the Police Marine Area Command located the body of a man, and it was retrieved. Earlier during the day, a P&O spokesperson said the man's family was being supported on board the ship, which was carrying about 2,600 passengers. The ship remained in the area and took part in the search and rescue all the way to the end. Specific identification procedures are underway to determine if the body that was found is from the Pacific Adventure.
All right, and I'll be back with some more news after a quick break from one of our network sponsors.
A man was caught climbing down a rope from MSC Bellissima in what appears to be an attempt to enter Japan illegally during the ship's current 7-night round-trip sailing. The strange part of the situation is that the vessel is sailing round-trip from Yokohama, and therefore the man must already possess proper documentation to have legally entered the country to board the ship. A witness first contacted authorities saying a man had gone overboard. Rescue personnel were dispatched immediately. The man, reported to be roughly 50 years old and appearing to be French, was quickly located, and it was discovered that he had not fallen, but had rather been attempting to climb down from the ship purposefully. The situation is confusing because the ship was still docked. The man could have left via the gangway. Alcohol may have been a factor impacting his actions, and he is currently in the custody of local Japanese immigration authorities who are conducting a full investigation. Princess Cruises will position Sky Princess in Europe to take full advantage of the next total solar eclipse. The line's total eclipse Sky Princess Voyage will place the ship off the coast of northern Spain on August 12, 2026, and provide guests with the opportunity to experience the 2-minute 18 seconds total solar eclipse. Sky Princess will sail round trip from Southampton on August the 8th, 2026, and operate a 14-day Mediterranean cruise that will take full viewing advantage of the eclipse.
Want to go on the Eclipse cruise? Call me. see what I can do.
Cruise around the world with the Will Model C2. That's the chair that I use. Our chairs will easily fit through accessible cabin doors and can navigate those tight spaces and crowded places. To see if Will may be right for you, click on the link below to schedule a test drive. Just tell them to use code Chillie for all your mobility needs. That's scootaroundstore.com.
And I did find out something that's worth pointing out. They have an app now, a Scoot Around app. I don't know if it's a Will and Scoot Around app, but you can get on the phone and order scooters wherever you want them. Okay. What I'm trying to find out, on the app, can you also put code Chillie in? Or do you have to call them to do that? And I got to call into my people to get an answer to that one. All right, guys. Use those scooters.
Cunard's latest new ship, the Queen Anne, embarked on its 7-night maiden voyage to Lisbon amid a stunning fireworks display this weekend. The 249th ship to sail under Cunard flag, Queen Anne set sail just after 9 p.m. local time as thousands of spectators gathered on the shores of Southampton water. Guests on board the 3,000-guest ship will enjoy several celebrations throughout the voyage, which includes a special maiden gala evening and performances by tenor Russell Watson. Royal Caribbean's Radiance of the Seas has had a rocky start to this year's Alaska cruise season. Propulsion issues already forced the popular cruise line to cancel its 7-night Alaska cruise scheduled for April 26th. And now the subsequent sailing, embarking on yesterday, actually, has gotten an unexpected itinerary change the day before the ship sails. Instead of calling on Skagway, Alaska, Radiance of the Seas will now be calling on Haines, Alaska on May the 8th. The rest of the itinerary is thus far unaffected, and future cruises, which generally all follow the same itinerary, are still scheduled to call on Skagway. Over the past weekend, the Hawaii-based cruise ship Pride of America paid a rare visit to the Pearl Harbor Drydock for a routine inspection at the Naval Shipyard and Intermediate Maintenance Facility. It doesn't happen very often, but it can be done. While naval ships typically have priority at Pearl Harbor, a scheduling window allowed the Norwegian cruise ship Pride of America to undergo a routine 2-day survey locally. This option was preferable to travel thousands of miles to the U.S. West Coast, which would have adversely affected the local economy and disrupted NCL's operating schedule. Performing the inspection locally also supports the robust ship repair industry. Sit back and enjoy the Alaska wilderness from a rail car. Princess and Holland America offer the Princess Rails with featured trips to Talkeetna and Denali with 3- and 4-day packages available now at 50% off. And you don't have to be a cruise passenger. Rail travel in Alaska is special, where multiple itineraries and multiple destinations await you. Just give me a call, 434-258-9264.
All right, that ends the news portion of today's show. Oh, that's what, I can't do that. I have to have my headset on to talk. Wow, that ends the news portion of today's show. Yeah, I didn't realize that. So let me figure out how can I turn this thing off in my head. Oh, well. All right, let's go see who's in the chat room. I said hello to Mike, Katie, Gretchen, Hot Air Tom, and Gary. That's where I got to, down to Gary. So there's Gary. Okay. So everybody's still saying hi back and forth. Gretchen says, just got off the phone with FedEx. They said they delivered a package, a chair, to us on Saturday. Their pictures looks like it never got off the truck. We were home waiting with doors open. Pain in the butt. Yes, it is. There's Joanne. Hi, Joanne. Happy Nurses Week to all the fellow nurses out there. And today actually was Nurses Day. And I did not use Nurses Day. Did I even do that today? I don't remember doing that. Today was National Beverage Day. Yeah, National Beverage Day. I opted for an adult beverage over my thanks to all the nurses. So I'm glad you brought that up, because clearly I think this extraordinarily high for all the nurses out there. So thank you, Joanne. Priscilla Coleman's here. Good morning, Priscilla. Glad to have you. Gretchen says, I'd be afraid to go to India. Well, I tell you what, that's what I'd like to get her on to see how it was. Did she feel unsafe or did she feel uneasy over there? My son has been to India and he loved it. I tease him about having to ride an elephant from the airport to the hotel. Gretchen says more power to her. Elizabeth's here. Buenos dias, Chilean gang, from another pool day at Playa del Carmen. And it's Teacher Appreciation Week. Yes, it is, Katie. Bob's with us. Good morning, Bob. Damon says, Chillie, did you get a haircut? No. It's just not totally dry from the shower this morning. Are you living back on the mainland? No. She went to the mainland and came back to Playa del Carmen. Ship to shore cruise news. Good morning. There's Todd with us. Gretchen says she was thinking the same thing. Honest, folks, it's just still a little wet. I haven't had it cut. I actually need to have it cut. But it's been just a little on the messier side lately. Roger's with us, taking his daughter shopping. He says, pray for me. We will, Roger. That will definitely be on the top of the list today. Katie says, good luck. There's Elizabeth saying she's back in Playa. Finally got everything moved up to the crazy spiral staircase. I meant to download and load that up today. They'll be on the show tomorrow so we can show everybody the staircase. I meant to do that the other day and didn't do it. All right, now here's one I don't buy, folks. I promise you that's not Elon Musk saying hello. If it is, hey, how would you like to sponsor me? Send a check. Gretchen says, I'd like to ride an elephant. They don't have elephants in Alaska, Gretchen, I'm sorry to say. So I can't see that you do that. But they do have them over in India. They have them in Sri Lanka. And they have them in Africa. So you could go one of the three. and ride an elephant, or you can become a service roustabout. Gretchen as a circus roustabout, that sounds like a winner. So that's going to wrap it up for today, folks. So thanks for being with me. In the meantime, I'll try to figure out why I got this damn echo. It's really awful in my head. So I can't imagine that that's it.
No, that's not it.
Oops. Is it still echoing? Yeah, it's still echoing. So it's not coming from my second computer. So I've got something open on my computer. Oh, well, I'll figure it out by tomorrow. Trust me on that. All right, guys. That's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for being with me. Smash that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. And that's it for today. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. See you tomorrow, everybody.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, so if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chilliescruises.